One of my favourite things from the Chains of Harrow update was the ability to dual wield. So you can have bullets and throwable melee weapons all in the same, just equipped at the same time, so you can shoot all of them. Now, this is kind of a weird thing to say, because when you're pointing any gun, you just hit quick melee and it does pretty much the same thing, but you can't use the stance. You also can't shoot bullets and you have to wait for it to be put away. Whereas with it actually equipped, you can basically throw it and still shoot. And when you're reloading, you can melee and use the stance, which is the important aspect to this. The stances are usable. If I can, I've got the fire rate way too high on this weapon. Now, this works with any throwable melee weapon. It works with the Serrata, it works with the Glaive, it works with the Glaive Prime, it works with the Halakar. The Halakar is what I have equipped because it has a chance of pulling the weapon off an enemy, disarming them. It works with the Sestra, which basically knocks them down, and the Orvius, which can sometimes freeze them in place. Turns them into puppets, as it puts up here. And it's the same with secondaries. It works with any secondary, from the Euphorna Prime to the Detron. The Castanis doesn't work, it's a dual wielding, as is the Despair, and any weapon that you hold in both hands. None of these will work, which rules out the Haikus, the Kunais. The Lato Vandal will work, but it's a closed beta weapon. People have been asking me a lot recently. You get that from playing in the closed beta. It's not available in the game. It's also nothing but mastery fodder. It was useful at the time when it came out, not so much anymore. They are talking about maybe bringing that back one day. The Pyrana, the Pandero, most of these, if not all of these, will work. Well, actually, all of them work. It's just we don't talk about some of them. And it is an amazing feature. I, at first, was expecting this to be kind of clumsy and not that useful, because while you're swinging the melee weapon, you can't shoot. But if you start swinging it when reloading, sometimes it'll still reload the melee weapon while you're hitting them with the melee. So your secondary will reload, but your melee will keep swinging, and sometimes you can throw it to knock enemies over. The ground pound aspect of this, from the update video I did when it first came out, the ground pound is kind of useless. You can do that anytime. Even with the primary equipped, you just jump and hit melee and you'll do a ground pound and open containers. That is the one aspect I made sure I could still do with this before even trying it out, because if you can't ground pound, well, the melee weapon's just kind of useless, to be honest. But this whole feature in itself can be really useful for crowd control, and mainly when you actually run out of ammo. It's happened to everybody. You're busy shooting at something, you go to reload and you turn around, something's either right behind you or comes round the corner, and you have to swap to a different weapon to continue to shoot, to defend yourself. With this, all you do is go, oh look, enemies, and throw a melee weapon at them or stop meleeing them. That's kind of the go-to thing anyway, but now you have the ability to use the stance for these things. And that's where it really comes into its own. The ability to use it as a melee weapon, and then once you throw the glaive out, or the throwable melee weapon out, you can start shooting things. And if you looked at it more that way, it's actually pretty useful. And it's the same with the secondary aspect of it. When you're shooting things and you need to reload, you can throw the glaive out and it'll disarm enemies or freeze them in place, depends which one you have equipped. Some will knock them down, some will just deal a lot of damage. One weapon I would love to use with this would be something like the Axe Stilettos, the Prime version, the Zanies, even the Somatis here, but they are all solely dual-wielding weapons, and none of these exist in the solo weapon world. There is no stiletto. It doesn't exist. It goes Spira, Staticore, Stug, Cyanide. Yeah, no stiletto here whatsoever. I would love to see a single-handed stiletto solely for the feature or for the use of the dual wielding feature. If that was a possibility, yes, then I would be really amazed, because using the Viper with this, I tried for about 3 seconds, went back to my primary, went back to the ship, took it off, never equipped it again. Because with this feature, a full auto secondary would be really, really good. But there really isn't one apart from the Viper that I can think of anyway. There might be, kind of looking through, and something like the Nucore is really good. I've used this feature more with the Sonic Core than anything else, because it has the crowd control capabilities, but this feature goes better with things like the Cull Star and high damaging weapons or high crit weapons like the Lex Prime. Because there's a dual wielding version of the Lex Prime, there's also a single one. I just wish that there was a single-handed version of the stilettos that would allow me to use one stiletto and a glaive. I know it'll do less damage, but I would still really like just a single-handed stiletto. Anyway, I'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.